welcome to our weekly podcast, Real Talk with Chris and Ross. We are designed for entrepreneurs and forward thinkers. We also care very heavily around the real estate industry as a whole, bringing you hot topics and up-to-date content with a lot of amazing special guest speakers along the way. So sit back, buckle your seatbelt, and get ready for the best hour of your day.
All right. Let's go. Episode number 33 in the house.
Yes, actually, it's 34, brother.
34.
34.
Oh, my goodness. I can't even keep up with the time today. First off, as always, we got Chris Akamara in the house, the Japanese cowboy. And we got Mr. Owen, our special guest. How we doing today, Chris?
Dude, I'm awake. I'm alive. I was just saying that on the way here in my drive, like thanking God I'm alive because somebody in this planet didn't wake up. So always be grateful for being alive, man. I'm going to work today like this last 24 hours of my life, man. I'm going to give it the fullest potential. Not selling it short. Anyways, long answer.
Hey, dude. Hey, man, that's a great answer, though. Chris, we can always count on you for the mindset, for the good vibes and positivity, dude. I got to say that for sure.
Dude, I moved to Hawaii in like 7 days, so who can be positive, bro?
Dude, the Hawaii.
Oh.
You know, we'll have to do an edit, man, where we show you talking about it like months ago, where you're like, hey, bro, I'm really considering this. This is a move I'm about to make. And then now we're here. Fast forward. You're actually making the move.
Yeah, let's do it. I make then actually I do it when I'm actually there too. What?
Let's go.
We're gonna be doing podcasts now. You're gonna have some beach action, man. Some podcasts now, bro.
Dude, I was going to tell you, might have to fly out to Hawaii to do an episode for this.
I'm just saying, make episode 46 or something like that, right? It'd be like live in Hawaii. I mean, it will be, but yeah. Anyways,
let's go.
Enough about me. Our awesome guest, Owen, today, man. Talk about him.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got Owen on the podcast this week. A little bit about Owen. What I love about Owen, before he comes on, I want him to tell us his story, but Owen's a rock star, man. I mean, I know him obviously my whole life because he is my cousin. But I've watched him come into this business, really just build it the right way. And, you know, he's on his third year and I've been watching his success and I'm like, you know what, man, you got a voice. People need to hear your story and people need to, you know, see what's working and all that other stuff. So Owen, thank you so much for coming on, dude.
Hey, Chris and Ross, thanks for having me. I really appreciate your time and the awesome intro into all of this. So,
dude, it's been trial and error, brother. This is our episode 34. It just gets better and better. And thanks to Ross, man. Trust me.
Hey, dude, no way. No way.
The first ones were pretty generic, but we were working our way up. It's always about consistency, man.
That's right. So, yeah, Owen, I mean, for those that are watching, kind of give us a little bit about, you know, what, you know, growing up, where you're at now, kind of the process in which you've taken life on, and just a little backstory.
All right, I guess we'll go back as early as I can really remember. Starts really in Waterford, Michigan. I don't remember too much about it, but I do know that Ross and his family, actually lived with my family for quite some time. So Ross and I's relationship really started when I first was born because we were family. That being said, moved over to Royal Oak when I was young. Didn't stay there too long myself either. Then my family, when I got into kindergarten, finally moved over to the Rochester Hills. That's where I stay out now. That's where I'm currently at. I'm in Rochester Hills. And then, you know, from there, went to school, got good grades, thought I wanted to be, you know, a lot of different things in my life. Wanted to be a police officer, thought I wanted to be a doctor. When I got to school, I wasn't really 100% certain what I wanted to do. But I was just figuring it out. And I've noticed that that's kind of been a lot of my story, is just kind of trial and error, just failing at things, and ultimately kind of finding my path, which ultimately led me into real estate. Ross, of course, was quite successful in real estate at the time. Actually, you know, the most successful person that I personally know in my life. And again, you know, a person who's always taken care of me. He actually, you know, used to pay my phone bill growing up. So he's always taken really good care of me and put me under his wing. As I was in school, you know, doing my degree in business, he reached out to me and was like, hey, you know, there's an opportunity I have for you. I'm looking to grow my real estate team. I think you'd be a really great fit. Just get your license and, we'll go from there. So I spent a lot of time, while I was actually in school, completing my real estate course online while I had online courses during COVID and whatnot. And then from that time, once I got my course done, I was like, all right, let me just pass the test. Tries. And I was actually, during that time, I didn't have the funds necessary, and that's one of the like kind of lessons I've learned over time is I didn't have the funds, but I was going to do anything it took to get that real estate license because it's what I wanted at the time, and I wasn't going to sell myself short. So I was actually door dashing food as I failed the test. Before I failed the test, I'm like, I need more money to go do this test again. So I just door dashed that whole day because I was pissed off that I failed, and got enough money to buy my next test. And then from that point on, finally passed it, and now 2 years later, here I am. And a lot of credit goes to Ross as well for pushing me and just getting me into this position.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, and you say that, and by the way, appreciate that positivity and all the thanks that you have that, but you did the work, dude. I mean, you were the one that showed up. You were the one that created that vision. You were the one that really set out to be successful, right? I mean, ultimately, no one can make you study. No one can make you do the DoorDash. No one can get you to get out there. I guess what pushed you in that season for an agent that's listening, right? They're trying to get licensed. Maybe they are door dashing. Maybe they are, doing these odd and end jobs, and they're trying to get into this business. And I know that was a lot of my story too. And it was hard because at the time, you're sold out on this vision of success in real estate, but you're not necessarily very successful while you're starting it. So like, what was your mindset to get to that point? Like, what kept you going?
So I think really to start off, I mean, I think I worked my first maybe full-time job, you can say, maybe 40 hours a week when I was 16. And I had a few different jobs over time, where I was kind of on and off in the food industry and, in warehouses and whatnot. Kind of over time, I realized that I like being in control of my time, and I don't like being under the watch of somebody else's time and having to follow their set rules and restrictions and whatnot, because I thought that was just limiting for myself. And I'd rather, be in control of my time and have the ability and the choice to do what I want with my time. So that being said, after doing a lot of hours in the restaurant industry and these warehouses, I honestly just got sick of it. And I was like, I need something where I'm in control of my time and I have the ability to create my own results. And I think, from that point on, it was really real estate's this option where I am my own business. And that's what I really loved. And that's what kind of drove me to keep going towards it.
For sure. Now, I hear that because I know your story, though. You also had opportunities other places. I mean, let's face it. When you got out of college, you had a strong degree in business, right? You had a strong degree that could get you a job instantly. You could have just went out and made six figures probably off the get. So being in that mindset, I mean, obviously you wanted to be your own boss, but did you ever have that little thing on your shoulder going, come on, man, press the easy button. Let's go with the easy play.
I definitely did.
Oh, wait, by the way, before you answer that, not anyone that has a job and did take that easy play, do not think that I'm saying that that's a bad choice. I'm just saying for Owen's story specifically.
Full disclosure, right?
Full disclosure.
Right. So, yeah.
Here.
Yeah, everybody likes different things. But I did have that thing on my shoulder telling me, and that thing was my mother. As much as I love her, when I was getting into real estate, she was like, Owen, you have these good opportunities that, she actually set me up with because she knew people. And she's like, you have these good opportunities and you're a shoo-in. And I was like, Mom, it's just, I don't want to be under someone else's time. That was the like, I don't have the freedom of choice at that point. It's kind of, hey, you got to kind of do what you got to do. And that's all right. But for me personally, it was like, I'm not quite in that spot and I don't want to go there yet if I don't have to. And it's always nice to kind of like a thing I want to keep in my back pocket in case things go south. And I mean, Ross, you're 100% right. In the back of my head, not even just my mom, but my own head, I was thinking, man, I should have took that job. It might have been a lot easier and a lot more consistent, and it wouldn't be so risky. but I'm just a person that really loves risk, and I'm okay losing it all, because if I lost it all, that means I gave it all. So I'm okay with losing it all.
That's awesome. But I want to go back and touch on that because I think innately, I think every human being has some level like an entrepreneurial bone in their body, or at least an entrepreneurial thought. When I say that, I mean, like, I think everybody would love to be able to not have to work for someone. They would love to call their own shots. They love to have control of their own environment, their schedule, their time, their energy, their effort, right? And they truly want to do that, which is a great piece to that entrepreneurialism. I mean, that's why we're here in America. Let's be honest, right? But the truth is, so many few people really take that and put it to good use. You have an entrepreneurial spirit. Everybody would love to win the lottery and have time and money, but the reality is most people don't take it like that. So I love your story, Owen, the fact that you actually, the bigger piece that really impresses me is that you could have taken option A, which we always talk about, it's an easier way, the path of least resistance, but you took the other option of B, which ultimately was your main passion, drive, why, your dreams, aspiration, which is to have full control and autonomy of your life and to be able to have and make as much money as you possibly want in your life, which is amazing. Again, but the next piece is so many people have that, but they do nothing with it. That's like 95% of the realtors in this business, especially right now in this market. So many realtors are leaving.
Yep.
Why? Because they don't have the drive, the energy, the discipline, the dedication, the routines, the rituals to keep them going. They have that want and desire, right, to have the entrepreneurial spirit, like you said, but they don't have the passion, the gas, the drive to actually enforce it and make it happen. So congratulations to you, because you are like more of an exception to the rule, right? You actually put it, you have this drive, a desire, and big why. Let's talk about that then. What is your why? Because I always go back to that, right? Ross is right. I love mindset, man. If you can't fix that in your 2 ears, you're dead in the water anyways. So what is your why? What was your driver? I mean, your mom was telling you one side, you were on the other side, and you probably had other people in your background giving white noise, telling you, you probably should have taken the job, Owen. Why are you trying to do all this? It's risky. What's your why?
So for me, my personal why is because, again, it comes down to kind of to the freedom aspect of time, but just freedom of and control of my own life. So a little bit about me. I didn't mention this, but my brother passed away when I was quite young. I was probably about 10 years old at the time. He was 13. And since then, like, you know, that really had like a whole, almost a personality shift for me. I became a very empathetic person for people. And that shift alone really made me value my time with my family, because I know it's not forever. So that being said, like, while I know, the 40-hour week could have been great and could have been consistent and could have been, a little bit easier for myself and probably less stress and pressure financially. I also know that I'm set, 40 hours a week that I don't get to have with my family. I'm not going to be able to spend it and go do stuff with them. So in that regard, that's probably my main why is my family. It's just really my family and myself to have that freedom to just spend the time where I want that time to be spent with them. So I'd say, my brother is definitely like one of my main motivators and drivers in my life. And his main motto was go big or go home. So I just follow along with that.
Got it tatted, baby. Go big or go home. Let's go.
What a great mindset, though, right? What a great philosophy to live by. I mean, so many people live by worse, trust me. But dude, go big or home. That's a very compelling story. I love it because I always tell people the why has to have some emotional attachment to why you do what you do, right? Because emotion makes you act, logic makes you think. So most people talk about their why from a logistic position, but not really an emotional position. And the emotional position is what's going to really drive you with the fire and the passion to really do this, right? In the days that it's dark, the 7th hour, when you're dead and done and you don't want to make that next call, you don't want to go to the next appointment, the last appointment, that why. So I love that. Thank you. And I'm sorry to hear about your brother, by the way. Always a challenge there too. So let's put this into perspective, set the stage here if we can, to the listeners that are out there. I mean, they're hearing your story a little bit, Owen. Your time frame again in real estate, and what does your production look like now? What are you working on? What's your goals? So everybody can kind of lay the map out, like what kind of, what process you're doing and what your business looks like, right? So let's lay that out.
Yeah. So I believe, again, I got my license. I got my license in May of 2021, so a little bit over 2 years ago. First year was, again, learning and just growing. I didn't have a great year production-wise, and that's all right because I wasn't expecting to. Now, my ultimate goal has been to really just double every single year. So for example, I want to say I probably should have the specific exact numbers of volume, but I don't. I just remember commission wise. So I'll just share commission wise. I remember I made about $12,000 my first year in real estate. So, I could have made more than McDonald's, definitely. But I was under the impression the amount of information and just the lessons I've learned through that were way more valuable than the money. And although I was struggling for money at that time, I had maxed out credit cards just to kind of keep everything afloat. I knew that there was something here. So my goal was to double my production. So then year two, I actually did more than double. I actually tripled my production from year one to year two. So I actually exceeded my goal. And then, now I'm starting on my third year. So my goal again is just to take that production and double it again and just keep playing the doubles game. Now, if I could keep playing the doubles game for 5-10 years, I'll be in a really great spot by then. So that's ultimately my goal is just to double production each year. And, right now I'm on pace for that. And I'm feeling highly confident I'll hit double my production as I'm pretty close to where I am right now.
For sure. Well, and two, I want to touch on that. And I mean, you almost broke your goal. You were just shy of that amount this year, which you set out for. I mean, dude, coming from where you were the year before, and especially in this market, right? 2022 market going into that, May, June, everything shifted. And yet you still tripled down and got exceedingly great results. I mean, if you want to share a little bit about that and how that happened, I'd love to hear more. Even though I was there with you, kind of watching it happen.
Hey,
just for the listeners. Yeah, man. So because you were on the team and then you went at it 100 miles an hour, right? And then, what shifted in your business to get you that triple down?
So I think a lot of where my business really started to change, I noticed, is when I really started focusing mostly on relationships. Before, I was just out trying to grab any business I could because I was hungry. I was like, whatever I can take, I'm going to get. And then I realized that, a lot of my business happened to be coming from people that I know, and I have a good network of people. And, these people have been very, very prominent in my business. And I started to focus more solely on taking care of those people because I already know them. And as I took care of them more and more, they've only taken care of me more and more. So really focusing on my SOI, going from maybe cold leads to some, just keeping up and keeping the relationship with people. I've noticed that alone probably had to double my business just doing that one method.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
So let's talk about, okay, I love that too. So you doubled down, relationships were expanded on, which we all know real estate's 100% about relationships, but most people don't know how to really attract them, sustain them, nurture them. But so what are some of your techniques for those that are listening out there who are, again, beginners? You're your going into your third year. So really 2 full years, not even completely finished your third year yet. Mm-hmm. So let's be realistic about it. You're really 2 years in the business working on your third. What are some of your daily habits? What are some of your daily routines? What are you doing specifically on a system, if you have any? So those that are out there maybe in their second year and haven't doubled their business, haven't tripled their business, are struggling to figure out. And let's be honest, the majority of people I'm talking to right now, agents, are struggling just to even make what they even made close to last year. Yeah. So what are you doing specifically? Maybe you can share a few things to give the audience.
Right. And so I'll stick because we're on the topic of SOI and sphere of influence. So I'll stick on that end a little bit more. Pardon me. Well, one, I'll just say, follow up is most important. If you're going to stay top of mind, then that you're going to win the game regardless. Because if someone thinks real estate or realtor and they think your name, you already won half the battle right there. So that's definitely a big part. Now some of the methodology behind that, I like to stick with where I know I win. So if I know I win somewhere, I'm going to stick there. I'm not going to go stick around places where there's going to be a lot more competition. I'd rather stick in places where I know I'm winning, and really feed those people. For example, if I know someone who's going to work with me, so any of my past clients, I'm going to send them and treat them way better than just a random person, right? Because I've gained their business. They've trusted me with their transition, which is a big time in their life. So they've trusted their transition in my hands, and I really appreciate and respect that. So that being said, I want to reciprocate that appreciation and respect back to them. And I've only noticed that really sticking by those relationships where, these are the people that are going to fight for you at the end of the day. Sticking with those people, sticking with the winners, they're going to keep your business growing that way. So I guess I'll get a little bit more specific on that. I know Ross really explained this one to me. It's called like the spider web or something like that, where each person that you sell to, essentially, they're going to refer you 3 more people as long as you do a good job and they're satisfied. So you can take each one of your past clients that you've had before, or people that are willing to speak on behalf of your name in a good manner, follow up with those people, and at some point those people are good for 3 people, and then now you have those 3 people as past clients, and if you could do a good enough job like you did at the first one, then those people can create 3 more. So that's how you can kind of create the network effect and a spider web, just by starting with one individual person, and really mastering that relationship.
For sure. Well, and I want to open this up a little bit more, because you actually do have a ton of systems that you do, because you've been converting FSBOs, you've been converting, expireds lately. You've been, I mean, dude, you just listed one, 2 weeks ago, and you got an offer on it on a FSBO. You did another open house recently, converted that to a listing appointment and a buy. So tell us a little bit more about the things that you're doing to get business, in addition to the SOI. And do you have a tracker, like a KPI that you use, or anything in that realm?
So yeah, we do have a KPI. Ross actually created it. It's a 4th quarter playbook. So it essentially goes through, it's a greatness tracker. If you know what a greatness tracker is, 10 contacts a day. Now, if you could do these 10 contacts a day and have 10 good conversations, over time, again, consistently, you're going to be able to talk to hundreds and hundreds of people and have good conversations. Again, writing the written letters, those are more to the sphere of influence. Staying top of mind, social media posting, just making sure you're getting yourself out there. The more eyes that see you, the more likely that you are that people know what you're doing. And really just, I mean, those are I would say some of the main things. When it comes down to the system or how I'm getting leads at open houses and things like that, I'm just being personable, and I'm just trying to really figure out their situation, understand how I can help them. And if I can't help them, then I'll let them know. But if I can, I will be authentic. And I truly try to preach, like, I'm just trying to be here to help you authentically. And if I can't help you, I don't want to. But like, if there's a possibility that I can, then I would love the opportunity to help you. And people kind of like, they understand that that's why I'm here, is just to be authentic person with them.
For sure. For sure. So, watching you go through this, right? Watching you double your business, I've seen it, right? You're probably on pace this coming year. What I would say 6 to 7 million is what you're going for, because you finished the year at 3.5, 4, right? So you're trying to get to that threshold. But in the last 2-3 months, I've at least noticed, dude, you're on fire now. Like, it's almost like you unlocked this new limited belief maybe that you had in the past. If someone's stuck right now and they're trying to double their business, like, what helped you get out of that? Because I hear you. I mean, for those of you that are listening, I sit next to Owen a lot of time in the office, and we call during our call blocks. And I've watched this guy go out. Now he's door knocking, almost 100 doors a week. He's, dropping off flyers, doing a consistent 1 or 2 open houses a week. But prior to that, right, you still had consistent business, but like, it seems like all of a sudden your pedal is just all the way down to the floor. And that's why I really wanted to have you on too, because I think that the fire that you got right now is contagious, and I know people would love to hear about it. So was there like a shift in the last couple of months that you think maybe you could have had access to even last year, that you're like, oh, wait, I realize I can? Or is it just kind of the evolution of you growing too? Because I've noticed that for me too, right? It only take a second. I'm like, wait, oh my God, I gave myself permission to be successful here. You were talking about that yesterday, Chris.
Yeah.
Giving yourself permission. It's almost like I've watched you, Owen, give yourself permission to go do the door knocking, to go do the open house. Was there a shift instantly, or kind of tell us about that?
Yeah. So, I'm just going to I like to be transparent and authentic. Sometimes I can be a person that struggles with confidence when it's coming to real estate. Like, am I really good at this? Am I successful? There's sometimes I get doubts in my head. I think there was a point in the past few months where I really told myself, like, I'm good at this. And I know I'm good at this because I see how other people, and I'm not saying I'm better than other people, I see how other people are operating their business, and they're not taking care of their clients the way that I know that I am. So I'm like, I know that I take care of these people to a greater degree than most people are being taken care of and being serviced. So that being said, I have this feeling inside of me where it's like, I know that if they're not using me, that they're getting disserviced. So if they're out with other people, I know that I would be providing them a higher degree and higher level of service. And I have that conviction and confidence in myself now. And I think that's something that's changed in the past, 2 or 3 months, because I used to think, like I used to be kind of skeptical and I used to doubt myself.
Isn't that interesting though? Here's the funny part. This is not to knock anybody out there that's listening. If you're a realtor, this is not against you. But the truth is, it had nothing to do with actually good systems or a good plan, although that did help. It made more efficiency out of your job. But the truth was, what he just mentioned though about his change in conviction and his belief system, his thought process, his mindset, his ability to believe that he was good enough and that he was the person that did the show. That's what changed this whole dynamic. And some people like, oh man, I need to go spend $1,000 to go to Craig Proctor. I need to go spend $1,000 to go to Grant Cardone. I need to spend $1,000 because they're going to teach me something. I'm going to get this magic button. I'm going to come back and I'm going to slay it. And the truth is, they come back and do shit. That's the script. They don't do anything. And that's why those people keep making freaking money off people like us, because it's not even about that stuff. Those things do help enhance and make your job and your role more efficient, your connection between you and your client easier. But at the end of the day, the transition and change in your business, escalating or de-escalating, always comes from you. And so I love that, Owen, that you're transparent. Thank you, because I think a lot of people out there are afraid to admit that. They're afraid to admit their fears. They're afraid to admit their inefficiencies. They're afraid to admit their insecurities and the fact they lack thereof and their ability to show up and perform. And that's why so many realtors fail. Oh, this is not for me. Yeah, right. That's like that little toddler that keeps falling down, right? And just says, walking's not for me. I'm never going to walk my whole entire life. Shit, I'm going to be in a wheelchair. What the hell's wrong with you? This is about you just having, and his passion goes back to his brother. It goes back to his family seed. It goes back to wanting to be the person he wants to be. But I love that, Owen. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to make that. It's like, it's not, people make it more complicated than it is. It's nothing to do with having fancy stuff and doing all these great, man, get up and take your ass to work and find out a good reason why you want to. Because if you become obsessed, dude, I'm reading the Grant Cardone book again.
Come on.
I finished it. I'm reading it again because the month's not over. Like, I'm already deep, like halfway deep into it again. Be obsessed or be average. It's crazy. So many of us are obsessed, but we're obsessed in the wrong shit.
Yeah.
Obsession is obsession. But
so true.
Obsessed in the wrong shit. Get obsessed with your success. Get obsessed with your ability to have your belief system on a level that is far beyond your own imagination, because it can happen. Get me obsessed with that. And Owen, it sounds like you become obsessed with it now. That fire's burning, the wood's in the stove. Bro, do not take your foot off the gas pedal. I promise you, you will triple your business.
Yep.
For sure.
I appreciate that. And actually, now that you're saying something along those lines, having the passion and almost not spending your energy and your time of things where it's useless to you, or you're saying the obsession. I think that's another thing that really helped change my game was, I used to play video games at night. I used to do, all of these different things. Used to hang out with my buddies. And I'm not saying I don't still do those things at all, but I put a different priority on, where I put my time, because I've noticed you are what your time is, or where your time is how you turn out. So if you're just turning out, putting in all your time playing video games and not trying to build out that business or build out those systems, then you're not going to be a successful business person. You're just going to be a business person who plays video games, or a business person who hangs out with your friends. And I'm not saying any of these things are wrong, but I'm saying that to take it to the next level, you have to realize what you're doing with that time and what the opportunity cost is, most importantly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so true. Because to thy own self be true. When you know in your heart that you want something and you're not doing it, you're literally lying to yourself, lying to others around you. And then the thing is we wonder why we're depressed, unhappy, not feeling satisfied, all these things. It's because we know deep down we have the potential. So watching you, dude, and I know, hey, we're catching you at the base floor, man. And like episode 500, when you come back on, dude, we already know, man, you're going to be on the build stage, all that other stuff. I have no doubt for you for that. But man, what an awesome journey, dude. What an awesome journey. And way to stay true to yourself and your goals, man. I mean, I've watched you do that. I mean, you've had every opportunity to be like, yeah, okay, I could take the easy route, but you continue to show up and you continue to put in the work, and to see the results now, man, you're getting referral calls on the daily now. It's a blessing, man. And I'm telling you, like Chris always says, there's people watching right now that are looking at your success going, hey, Owen did it. I can maybe do this. I can maybe change my life. And maybe it's not real estate. Maybe you're in insurance, or maybe you're in whatever. This message is still applicable.
Oh, 100%. It's just based off your drive, desire, wants, and needs. I mean, it's what you want. But you actually have that ability to see that, which is awesome. That was my reel yesterday about time versus money, right? What's the most important valuable asset that you think is in your life? Is it time or is it money? And most people will say time, right? But the truth is, if that's the case, why does everybody spend so much stupid shit on time, wasted time? Like you mentioned video games, and I'm not knocking anybody. Dude, if you love video games, more power to you. This is not a discrimination on that at all. I'm just saying, you mentioned a great word there. You prioritized. You found the most important things in your life that meant most to you, and you put your energy on that. Not video games. It was about being productive. It was dollar-making activities, right? What is money-making activities going to do for me? Playing video games is not it. Maybe you find yourself limiting from an hour to maybe only 15 minutes. Cool, you're still getting your video game in. But you changed your priorities, right? And structured your time percentage pie where now it's money-making activities and the other parts are still, so you can still have a lot. I'm not saying be a weirdo and stop doing all the things you love to do. I'm just find out what's important in your life. But all the obsession and energy and time, energy in that, and make time for it. Spend that time wisely, and then the money will come. So we talked about your wins, and this is great. I love this, by the way. Thanks, because you know what? This is the time right now that in this market, everybody is questioning themselves. Everybody's wondering whether they should stay in the business or get out of it. If you've been in the business and got in it the last 2 or 3 years, I promise you, right now, if you're listening, you're having this conversation in your head. God, my business isn't where it's supposed to be at. I'm not closing the deals I want to close. I don't feel like I'm doing what I should be doing. Maybe I should go back to that job that Owen talked about and get that salary, right? That guaranteed paycheck, because that's looking pretty good right now. So I love the fact you're on here, because then this is a true testament that there's no freaking excuses, man. If you want something bad enough, you will always find a way to make it happen, or you won't, right? Henry Ford says, if you think you're right, you're wrong. Either way, you're right, you're wrong. It's, I think I can, I think I can't. Either way, you're right.
Oh, yeah.
It's up to you. So let's talk about, we talked about your wins. Congratulations. Let's talk about the real challenges, because everybody out there listening could be talking about some of the things that maybe you've endured, and they're going through the same thing. Let's talk about some of the obstacles. Let's talk about some of the shit. If it's mindset stuff in your head, all the stuff that you've been enduring and battling probably for the last 18 to 24 months as well.
Right. So, I mean, I think that really starts off the jump. I mean, just completing the real estate course in general is a hump. I consider, again, I got good grades throughout college, got good grades throughout grade school. I was usually, I was usually a pretty smart person. I'm not a genius by any means, but I was usually fairly smart.
Owen was our only chance in the family, Chris, to any of us being doctors, just so you know. That was Owen, just to give context.
MD kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think, not again, and I wasn't too big of a failure when it came to school, but when it came to the real estate course, I mean, I remember taking the time, just dedicating time while I was already in class to complete the course. But then once it came to the test itself, I failed that thing 3 times or 2 times. So I didn't get it until my 3rd try. So that was like one of the things, again, and it's not like I had a bunch of money to go out and go try it again. I was doing the door dashing, whatever I could, just to go past that test, because I was determined to do it. So that's where it started. Then from there, okay, I got my license. Then I'm like, all right, now what? Right? I was like, what's going on next? Luckily, I had Ross as a mentor. He was able to bring me in, and he's been quite successful in the business. But still, I didn't have any capital at the time. I didn't have any runway. I didn't even know what a runway was. I didn't know that I needed money for expenses, because I had to pay a broker, and I had to go show these properties with gas money I didn't really have. So that being said, once I got into the business, I actually opened up a credit card, and I put everything on that credit card my first year, and I maxed it out quicker than you believe. It was okay though, because I got Sky Miles from it.
It was a bonus to everything.
There you go.
So that's why I got that credit card, because I got Sky Miles. But then, it took me about 3 months to really get my first deal. So I was working pretty much every day. We were at the office around 8 o'clock. 7:45, and I was working pretty much all day, at least until noon, and then beyond some if we had other stuff going on. So it was always 8 o'clock until noon. We were required to be there. We were there every single day, and then whatever else is beyond that. So usually I'd stay until maybe like 2 or 3 o'clock, and do whatever else I had with my day. Right. Again, I did that for 3 months. Didn't have a single deal. Kind of felt like a failure. I'm like, when is this gonna? When am I gonna be rewarded for my hard work? I've already put 40 hours into the course, probably more. I know I put a lot of hours into the test, and I was just feeling it. I was like, was this the right move for me? I know I had easier routes I could have taken. And there was this doubt that I had in myself, like, was this really the right move?
Mm-hmm.
Now, once I got to that first closing and that first closing table, it felt like the biggest relief. I was like, okay, we did it once. If we can do it once, we can do it twice. So once I got that one, I really started to think, all right, we can really do this. But again, that whole first year, I only made 12 grand. Not really enough to live on, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
but still persevered, and that wasn't your end game, right? Like, you could have stopped at 12 grand and said, this is just not for me.
Yeah.
Like all this work, time, energy, and effort, and all I made was 10 grand. That could have been your mindset, right? But you didn't. So what are some of the, I mean, as you grow, as they say, more money, more problems. What were some of the bigger obstacles as you continue to grow and double and triple your business now? And now obviously your GCI is bigger, your volume's more. So what are some of the challenges that come with that one?
I think, the main problem was just overcoming my own thoughts, just telling myself, I had to realize that it's okay to fail. And I really have learned that through this. It's just like, you just kind of have to sometimes stumble your way through it until you find the right route for you. And then once you stumble through it, you really are able to master it. I definitely stumbled. And so many times I'm like, I just got to get back up and keep trying and keep trying. I think that thought alone of just perseverance really helped. But again, there's a lot of times where I was telling myself, if I was on the listing appointment, because we were doing cold calls, I'd get the listing appointment. I'd go to the listing appointment, but in the back of my head, I was like, do I really deserve this? Am I worthy of this listing? And like, am I going to really give them the best service that's possible? And in my head, I was already telling myself no. So they can already feel that. In my head, I'm already telling myself I wasn't worthy of the listing. So no wonder why I didn't get it,
Yep. The energy wasn't there. It was definitely what you focus on expands, man. Thoughts became energy. So that obviously is a big precursor to that. And everybody follows it. Anybody listening to this has the same challenge, though, right? Ross, myself, and then I'm just in a different avenue, I'm a different arena of it all, right? So it's all relative. Like that inability to feel like you deserve something. Like as a person growing up in my life, I actually was more afraid to succeed than I was to fail.
Yeah.
My entire life was failure, and I was okay with that. It was this ability to believe that it's okay to succeed. That was my biggest fear, to be honest. And there's a lot of people out there who are more afraid to succeed than they are to fail.
Yeah.
And it's something you got to break through. And you got to give yourself permission again to be able to be okay, right? That permission piece is huge. People think it's stupid, but dude, you grew up as a kid, every bit of your life, you cannot do anything unless you get permission from your parents. You think that changes as an adult when you get older? That transition doesn't change. Yeah. It's innately built in your mind to get permission to do something or to allow something. And now as an adult, obviously we don't have like parents and things tell us to do, but we have the ability to free will. But it's still within ourselves to say, hey, Owen, it's okay. This listing presentation, this $2 million deal, you have permission. It's yours. You have the ability to have that. It's yours. Go ahead. And accept it, right? Open-handed, accept it. So good stuff.
Heck yeah, dude. I love that. And watching your growth too, man, because you've done everything now. And we did the runway. So like when Owen came to EXP, we built it out and we're like, hey man, stay on the team for a year. Let's get you to where you need to be and then get you to an independent agent. And now July was his first month. Now you're an independent agent. So you're crushing it there now. Right. And you know how to confidently go on a listing appointment. I mean, you just took down from that mindset to where you're at now, one of your biggest listings, dude. And you got it under contract the first week. I mean, that's massive. That's massive. And you not only went on the appointment alone, you got it. And now, I don't think you've literally been going on all your appointments, just crushing it. So that limited belief, you've obviously surpassed for sure.
So yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks, Ross and Chris. The main thing I noticed, again, there was that change. There was the belief in myself where, again, I once I realized that I am giving great service, I had this different belief within myself that I am worthy of the listing and I am the right person for this thing. But before my actions didn't, before when I had the doubt, is because my actions weren't giving me the confidence. My actions were telling me that, maybe you're not good enough for this. But as I did this game more and more and I became better at it, and I realized that I actually am a producing agent, and I'm going to take great care and I'm going to give my clients the best service possible that they're going to get in all of in all of Michigan. I believe that. Once I believe that, then I can confidently walk into that room and go, I'm going to be the one to help you.
Isn't that amazing what happens though when somebody instantly gains confidence? I mean, it's like a game changer. Anything, right? Anything. Like you could be working out and then somebody finally walks up and says, "Oh my God, Ross, you're looking good." Like, wow, I can tell you've been hitting the gym, brother. Right? And all of a sudden this confidence comes in, right? And it changes the whole dynamic of your energy. And all of a sudden it's like, dude, I'm going to the gym every day now. I'm bought in. Dude, humans are always results driven. It's sad, but we're results driven and we don't activate that. We sit there and want results, but we don't do any of the activity. We've got to work backwards, man. Thank you, man. Owen, this has been actually very, very helpful because this is like anybody listening right now, man, you can't throw one damn excuse out to me that you suck and your business isn't working right. That's because you're just not working hard as Owen. This is because you're not willing to get up in the morning like Owen. You're not willing to go do what Owen does. You're not willing to think like Owen, act like Owen, behave like Owen. Dude, I know this could be a saying now. We got to be like Owen. So like be like Mike, be like Owen. But truthfully, I just think this is so appropriate. It's so timely because we're in an era. Like I have constant conversations with realtors all over the country right now who are complaining their business is slow. Every time housing market sucks, interest rates are high. My gosh, we're in a recession and inflation's bad. My business is down. I can't blah, 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 blah. Dude, complete different conversation dialogue out of Owen's mouth right now, man. Everything on his face shows that he's ready to go freaking bite off a shark's head. I mean, like put it in front of me. I dare you. I'll take that, right? And I'll take that. So I love the ability to have what you have right now. You have confidence in you, Owen. I love it. And it's not like an arrogance or an ego. It's like a real true humbled confidence, man. And I love that, dude. Just keep exploding that because I want to hear from you in a year from now. And to see where you're at. Like I can only imagine if you do not stop the way you think right now, do not stop the way you're behaving right now, you are going to do great things. And I'm impressed. I love these stories. I love these stories,
Same, man. Thanks for coming on, Owen. We appreciate it so much. It's always good to hear from, agents that are building their business, man, and trying to make a change in their life for the better. I mean, if at anything, is that not just a great thing to listen to for everyone listening right now? We all go through it. It doesn't matter. Like you said, Chris, whatever level you're at, we're all going through it.
Absolutely. You could be a $40 million producer who their main aspiration is maybe to be an $80 million producer. Yeah. It's all relative, right? You're going from 4 million to 6 million to 8 million, but they're at 40 to 60 to 80 million. Or maybe they want to bring on and elaborate and build on their team, expand. Okay. But they're still stuck.
Yeah.
They're probably more stuck in their head than they are stuck in actually the proficiency of getting it done. Because the reality is, we all can admit this right now. Real estate is not rocket science, everybody. If you haven't heard that and understand that yet, get over yourself. It's not even that worth it. Like, come on. They act like we're NASA engineers building some new rocket to go to space. We are just selling homes to buyers and sellers. And I don't mean that to be watered down or disrespectful. I'm just saying stop making it so big than it is and quit making it. Like, stop. It's really easy to do, but difficult to make yourself do it. Right? That's the hardest part. And Owen, you've just kind of kiboshed that whole thing right now and saying that it's totally feasible to do. You just got to put yourself into it and do it. And then to, believe you do it.
Come on.
Right. So yeah, awesome, brother. I appreciate you, Owen. You guys are obviously in the same neighborhood. You see each other every day. I think obviously Ross is a great inspiration to you too. Ross, you're a rock star, man. I love having you on this co-host. It's amazing. He's great. I love his energy. Like instantly I was like, I think Ross needs to be the guy.
Honored.
And every week we have great, amazing people on here. And yeah, sometimes we have high collar people, but I love that we have people right where you're at, Owen, because this proves that anything is possible if you just want to do it. Right?
Heck yeah. No
excuses, no bullshit. Just want to do it. So, dude, I wish you the best. And I know you will because you're right there with Ross. You're going to crush it this year. And I look forward to seeing you in Vegas in October.
Woo! Let's go.
Let's go. But until then, man, we love everybody. We appreciate all the regular listeners. We love you guys. Appreciate it. Hope this is value to you. And everybody else that maybe is brand new and just tuned in this time, We hope this was value too, and you got something out of it. Until next week, we wish you guys the best and have an amazing week.